Hello, brothers and sisters. God bless. Hope your night or day is going good and all is going well with you. I thought I'd share a few thoughts on that conversation I had with the atheist in case people were wondering what I was talking about, because it's a really interesting subject. When you start to wrap your mind around this, you'll understand that without God, you cannot have truth value for anything at all. Like when Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father except through me. Jesus is making himself to be of exclusive source of truth. I am the way and the truth. And what I believe is parsed out in the Bible is that without Jesus Christ, you cannot have truth value for anything at all in life. That if you reject the self-disclosure of God in natural revelation, then you end up in what the Bible calls darkness or foolishness. So I was quoting to the guy that in the beginning, God created everything, and particularly Jesus Christ, that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God, and all things were made through him and for him, and without him nothing was made that was made. So when it talks about Jesus, he is the source of everything. He is the origin point for all dependent facts. Without him, nothing was made that was made. So we have ultimate context, and context is needed to interpret reality or anything, and that's the way it is, just by logical necessity. And anyone who studies the Bible knows this, that without context you end up with false interpretations. This is why we deal with false teachers all the time, and this is what unbelievers become. They become false teachers of reality without even realizing it, and the rejection of God because of no context. But when we're dealing with false teachers, they will misinterpret verses all the time, and it's because they're not considering context, and they don't use context properly, and in doing so they give us false data, false information. So that is the way it is. If you don't have context, you have false information, you have false interpretations to things. So when we talk about ultimate reality, there has to be an ultimate context that interprets everything that we see. In the first sentence of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God, ultimate context, created heavens and earth, and that would be dependent facts. So dependent facts are interpreted in light of God. And if you don't have God, then you don't have truth value for anything. And you see that in Revelation, where it says outside are dogs and sorcerers and idolaters and murderers and everyone who lived and practiced a lie. That everyone who lives and practices a lie is just speaking about unbelievers that are outside. And unbelievers have no ultimate context, and their life that they're living is a lie. They don't interpret reality as reality is supposed to be interpreted correctly. It's like if I said to an unbeliever, I was looking at a tree or anything, this table or this chair or a blade of grass, and I say, do you know that the origin point for these things is Jesus Christ? That he's the creator and sustainer of everything? That all things were made through him and for him, and without him nothing was made that was made. And I tell them that everything I see is a Jesus Christ created fact. They're going to disagree with that. They're going to say no. As an unbeliever, they won't agree with that. Well, that's an alternative interpretation to the facts. So they have an alternative interpretation to the facts around us, that they would say that they're not a Jesus Christ created fact. Well, the problem with them, like the guy I was talking about, is he has no ultimate context to appeal to even interpret facts, because in the rejection of God's self-disclosure and natural revelation, he will have no ultimate context to appeal to tell us what the true nature of reality actually is. So what he will do then to tell us about reality is he'll just make things up in his imagination and his speculations. And that's what Romans 1 is addressing when it says the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. For For that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood through the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were they thankful, but they became futile in their speculations, and their foolish hearts were darkened. So it talks about how they became futile in their speculations and the rejection of God, that the invisible attributes of God are clearly seen, being understood through the things that are made, so that people are without excuse. And this is talking about that through natural revelation, since the beginning of creation, God has revealed that he is the creator and sustainer of everything. But the scripture has given us a picture where men in their unrighteousness and their unrighteous fallen state reject that which has been given to them in terms of natural revelation. Now, special revelation has to do with things in the scripture and the gospel and stuff like that. But what man has been presented with, they reject. And this is also instantiated in the Gospel of John, where it says, and this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone practicing evil hates the light, and does not come to the light, lest their deeds be exposed. So when it talks about Jesus, who is the light, he came in to enlighten the world about the true nature of reality and salvation. It says the light has come into the world, but men love darkness rather than light. That's the disposition of fallen, unrighteous men, as they love darkness rather than light, that they love non-truth rather than truth, because their deeds were evil, because everyone practicing evil hates the light. It says everyone that is practicing evil, which is the case for all of mankind, there's none righteous, no, not even one. They hate the light, and they do not come to the light, lest their deeds be exposed. So Jesus Christ is the enlightenment to reality, and the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light. They love non-truth rather than truth because of their fallen disposition. And so this is why Jesus says to us that I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. That he who follows Jesus, which is ultimate context, will have the enlightenment to life. They will know the true nature of reality and have an interpretation to the facts in it, because he's the creator and sustainer and the ultimate interpreter to all facts. And without Christ, you have no truth value to anything. Again, if you're talking with an atheist, they're not going to agree that the world and everything in it was created by Jesus. Well, that's an alternative interpretation to all the facts. But they don't have an ultimate context to appeal to. Because if you said to them, what is the ultimate origin point for everything that exists? In reality, every created dependent fact, what is the origin point? And what they're going to tell you is they don't know, because they do not know God. So they're going to say, well, I don't know. Well, in saying they don't know, they're admitting that they have no intelligibility for the facts around them, because facts are interpreted upon ultimate context. If somebody tells you they don't know what the ultimate context of reality is, and they're an unbeliever, and you ask them, what is the ultimate context to reality? The moment they tell you they don't know, and they think they're being humble when they do this, what they're admitting to is they don't have an interpretation to any fact in reality, because facts in reality are dependent upon ultimate context. David said it this way, I was fearfully and wonderfully made. I was knit together in my mother's womb, and all the days of my life are written in your book before one of them came to be. That all the days of my life were written in your book before one of them came to be. That there is a book of life, and a book needs context to interpret facts. That without context, you cannot interpret facts. This is a very logical thing that is true to reality, no matter what worldview you hold. No matter what worldview you hold, if you don't have context, you cannot have facts. And so God makes himself a necessity for truth in this way. He makes himself a necessity for truth, that without him you can't have truth value to anything. That he is the ultimate origin point, the creator, sustainer of everything that exists, and the rejection and denial of him leads to metaphysical darkness. Again, the world is in darkness, and without Christ and his revelation, that's where we would all be. Like, imagine Christ never came into the world, and he never said what he said about being God and the Creator. Then we would be in darkness about context. And without context, we can't know the true nature of reality. So upon accepting Christ and his self-disclosure, we now know the true nature of reality. Of course, this is something that God works into his elect, that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. For everyone practicing evil hates the light, does not come to the light, lest their deeds be exposed. But everyone who does the truth comes to light, that his deeds may be clearly seen and that they've been done in God. That everyone who comes to the light, and Jesus says that no man can come to me unless the Father sent me draws him, I'll raise him up the last day. That no man can come to Jesus unless the Father sent draws. He also says, all the Father gives to me will come to me. The one who comes to me I'll by no wise cast out. So all that do the truth come to the light, and the ones that come to the light are those that have been given by the Father. All the Father gives to me will come to me. All the Father gives will come to the light, and they will be enlightened to the true nature of reality. I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life.